Hare Krishna. So welcome to our Bhagavad Gita reading session. So today we'll be reading from the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is, as text number 30. मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनश्लाघय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिनत नामने नमः आचार्य पादाय नताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरकथा धामताय नकरग्रामतारिणे नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनत नामने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna everyone. So we'll be reading from the first chapter, 30th sloka, Bhagavad Gita as it is. न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshtatah syat. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He could not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his self interest by Krishna's will. One's self interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle, would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So this really shows our situation in this material world. So Krishna has put Arjuna in a similar position as Krishna very well knew this would be the situation of people in Kali Yuga. So Krishna puts Arjuna also in the same situation so that this Bhagavad Gita is spoken for the welfare of all the coming generations. So here we see that Arjuna speaks that he is unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield. So, whatever kind of frustrations or whatever kind of anxiety or impatience, whatever we go through in this material world is because of our material conditioning. So, we hear a lot about the pure devotees, how there is anxiety even in pure devotees, but their anxiety is to serve the Lord, and there is impatience in the pure devotees, but that is also in the service of Krishna. There is anger in pure devotees, but that is also in the service of Krishna. Their consciousness is completely in Krishna. So we cannot compare that and artificially think ourselves, oh, maybe I must be advanced, but that is why I also feel impatient. But then Our impatience has nothing to do with being a pure devotee. Because we have to understand the hard reality. The most of the time uh, we are not matured enough, and because of which we think that I am I am advanced in my spiritual life, and we compare our emotions to the emotions of pure devotees. But this cannot be done, or it is an immature way of thinking. And this is mainly due to our ignorance of our real position, our real state. So here what happens is, it is very clear that we are completely in material consciousness. So, but because a devotee chants the holy name of Krishna, so he is slowly coming out of it, and that is true. That happens. So here we see that. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stand on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on the account of weakness of his mind. So, all this anxiety, depression, frustration, everything that we feel is only because our mind is very, very, very weak, and especially in this Kali Yuga. We think of doing something, we are not able to. Maybe we might start it, or we might not even go maybe a few steps forward. Then we have a lot of confusions. Oh, why should I do this? And we eventually stop it. There is not a single task maybe many people will complete. So that requires a lot of what to say, lot of mental strength, or the concentration to divert all our energy into completing the into doing that task. This is very important. But when the mind is everywhere, what happens is, that is why is the mind everywhere? Because the mind is weak. The mind is weak. Only a controlled mind can stay, or can be fixed in a position. But when the mind is very weak, it scatters everywhere. It scatters everywhere. We see people walking here and there and everywhere. Do you have any job? Why are you walking everywhere? No, they don't have anything. So now from the mental level, it came to the physical level. People walk everywhere, but then there is no purpose. So we say that because earlier even I used to do that, and some of my friends say, Why you are running around everywhere? You so busy? You have so lot of work to do." And then I thought, I mean, then they say, then like it was like I did not have any work. I was just running around. This was my mental condition. When the mind is unstable, and we are in that for quite a long time, what happens, it comes into our physical state also. We also start running around without any purpose. So this is because the mind is not controlled. But when the mind is controlled, when the mind is when we concentrate our mind, when we try to bring the mind under the control of the holy name, when we chant the holy name, we try to listen to the holy name, we put the mind to Krishna. Krishna, you take care of the mind. So that is when we gain a lot of inner strength. So there won't be any weakness of heart. The weakness of the heart comes because of the doubts in the mind. The mind creates lots of doubts, and from where our weakness comes. So this is very important. Any doubts, any kind of doubt, any kind of anxiety, any kind of frustration, whatever we have, it is simply because of the weakness of the mind. This is a reality which we have to understand. So here, and that why is the mind very weak? That is what is given in the next statement. Excessive attachment to for material things put a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. And why is the mind weak? The mind is weak because he is having excessive attachment to material things. Excessive attachment to material things. So here, um, and such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium takes place in people who are too affected by material conditions. So we have to understand that they are the people who are very, very materially attached. They're see, when a person is not so attached to anything material, what happens? Even if a problem comes, we see that he's cool. He's like, okay, fine, what happened? So he's not affected by it. But when a person, even when we are affected so much by many things, what happens? We simply have to understand the hard reality that I am materially attached. Though I wear tilak, though I wear all those things, or though I'm showing that I'm a devotee, but if I see that I am getting affected by so many things and I am in depression, I am in anxiety, it simply means I am materially very, very attached. So this, when a person is materially very attached, he cannot claim that my mind is strong. He is weak in his mind. This is the hard reality of life which we sometimes not ready to accept. So the simple thing is, when problems come, how do we react? How do we respond? Am I getting affected by it? If I We have to be truthful to ourselves. Am I getting affected by it? Yes, I am getting affected by it, which means I am materially attached. What am I materially attached to? How will I get out of it? This should be our mentality. How to understand, accept that I have a problem and then try to come out of it, not that artificially try to cover it up. So this helps us a lot. This being truthful to ourselves helps us a lot. We see later on how Arjuna tries to explain in so many ways to Krishna, and finally he says, "Okay, fine." Finally, he becomes he. We see how Arjuna becomes very truthful to himself and says that, "No, I cannot do this. Please guide me." So that shows we are truthful to ourselves. We are frank with ourselves, accepting that I have problems in all dimensions. So Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battle. He would not be happy even by gaining victory. This is a sad situation. The word nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectation, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is, why am I here? So here we see that Arjuna's situation is such that, like, if he doesn't fight in the battle, he will be frustrated. Why he'll be frustrated is mainly because, so here we see that yes, so Arjuna is in such a condition that even if he doesn't take part in the battle, he leads a life of frustration because he doesn't have a kingdom to rule. He is a kshatriya. It's like the nature of sugar is to be sweet. It cannot artificially think that, oh, I am salt, or I am chili, and I can go into this particular sabji. So we are making, say, some chili gopi or something, and the sugar thinks that, oh, I am a chili, I am not sugar, and it jumps into the sabji and it mixes up as we add chili. And then what happens? It will, the chili gobi, which is supposed to taste spicy, will taste awful because it has now become a payasam or something. It tastes so sweet, isn't it? So it is like that. So what happens? They lose the purpose of that. The purpose of that sabji is lost. Similarly, same case. If a chili thinks that, oh, I am so sweet, so whatever. This is what materialistic people. I mean, people who think like they are materialistic, but then what happens? They want to act spiritual. So we are chilly inside, but I am acting as if I am so sweet. What happens? I try to jump into payasam. What happens? I make the entire payasam very awful. If a chili jumps into the payasam thinking that it is sugar. This is exactly what we are doing. We are not ready to accept our reality. We are not ready to accept ourselves. Identity crisis. We are not ready to accept our identity of who we are, even on the material level or on the spiritual level. So here Arjuna has to accept the reality that he is a Kshatriya. He needs a kingdom to rule over, and he has to, he cannot take up a life which he is not which he is not meant to, and and that will only lead to frustration. So if he doesn't fight this battle, he has to either be a servant to Duryodhana and serve him, or he has to go to the forest and live a life of frustration. So either way, if he doesn't fight the war, he is going to lead a life of frustration. And what happens? What is Arjuna thinking? Oh, if I fight, what happens? So many people will be killed, and I don't have. And when all of them are killed, then what is the point in getting a big kingdom with all of them dead? So Arjuna, so we think that, yeah, that is a better way of thinking. But then we'll see what are the how Krishna says even that is not right way of thinking. So here, so Arjuna sees only frustration, whether he fights the battle or whether he doesn't fight the battle, he sees only frustration. So why is this coming? It is because of our material attachment. Frustration to fight the battle, and frustration if he doesn't fight the battle. Everywhere he's seeing frustration. If I do this also, I'm frustrated. If I don't do it also, I'm frustrated. When someone sees only frustration everywhere, not even a solution, what happens? It means simply means that he's materially attached. It doesn't mean that there is a solution and that he won't be happy. Why is he not seeing the positive thing? Why is not able to see that? Because he is materially attached. There are a lot of attachment for him, because of which he is not able to see the reality, the truth. So these are all the conditions of a person who is very materially attached. So no one is interested. Now what happens? He is seeing that frustration because he is interested in himself. He is thinking, what will give me happiness? If I win the battle, how will I be happy? If I am not going to fight this war, how will I be happy? He's concentrating on himself. He is concentrating on his happiness rather than the higher truth. It's like that is why many a times what happens is people are not able to do their duty properly, because they are so concentrated on their self, they won't be able to do their duty properly. Like a father and mother, they are only worried about their happiness. They don't think that I have a child, I have to take care of them, this is my duty. And what happens? They say that, oh, my husband is not giving me happiness, or my wife is not giving me happiness, okay, divorce. What happens? There is a child and the child needs care and attention. They have a higher duty other than just thinking of their happiness. So it doesn't mean that we should be blind to our basic requirements, but then it doesn't mean that I should be so selfish that I think of only myself. So this is very important. So when a person thinks only about himself, he fails to understand that there are people around me. Every living entity matters. It is not just me who matters. Yes, I have to do my duty, and what I'm the happiness and distress I'm going to get is material, and it doesn't last for long. So he should be concentrating on the higher duties rather than happiness and sadness. Later on, we see in Bhagavad Gita how what Krishna says about happiness and sadness. So it is very important to go above karma and concentrate on dharma. So here, why is one getting frustrated? And in his expectation, he thinks that why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the supreme self. What is this? What is that Krishna wants us to do? So Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest. Now we might think, oh, Arjuna is a great devotee. Why is he acting like this? But he is doing this only because Krishna wants this to happen. As I told in the beginning, this is all Krishna's. Krishna will do all those games only with his pure devotees. He'll put his pure devotees in such kind of anxiety, so that only because they can only be the instruments through which Krishna can give the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll see that as we go on, we'll see that. So because if Arjuna was in so much of anxiety and frustration, why would he even agree for the war? Why would he do all this tapasya during the 12 years of exile? Even after exile, he was so enthusiastic to fight the war. Even just before the battles, he was very enthusiastic, and he was ready to fight the war. But it was so sudden. It was so sudden that he did not want. He was getting anxious. So Krishna just covered him up. Krishna just bought us. I mean, Krishna just covered him in such a way that he becomes anxious. He shows all those material natures. This is just Krishna's trick so that he can speak the Bhagavad Gita. So, one's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. So when we see a higher plan in everything, we won't be materially affected so much. It's like I was imagining my situation in this position. So it is like we know that Abhimanyu's death was very very sad in Mahabharata, where Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, where he was killed in the Chakravyuha. So where many of them, it was injustice done to Abhimanyu, and the way he died was also very sad. And we often think, why did such a thing happen to such a great warrior like Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, and he was very dear to everyone. He was all those wonderful qualities in Abhimanyu, and just at the age of 18, he just died in a battle, and he was just married, and his wife was pregnant, so many things. And look at the situation. So then uh, but when we see the higher truth, it is like Abhimanyu as actually when Krishna was about to appear in this material world, he told all the devatas to be born, so to help him or to assist him in establishing dharma. So all the devatas were born, everyone was taking part, and even the son of Chandradeva, the moon god, the son of Chandradeva was also called to be born on earth. So Chandradeva was so attached to his son, he said, no, I cannot send my son. It is very difficult for me to part with my son, so I will not send him. But then everyone said, no, this is Krishna's will, you have to listen to this. And then Chandradeva, so the sun, sorry, the moon god, he said, okay, fine, I will send him, but then only were for a very very few short period of time. So they said, okay, fine, you send him only for then he said, okay, I will send him only for 18 days. So they were like, okay, fine, 18 days. But then we have to understand that 18 days for the devatas is like 18 years on this earth planet. So for only for 18 days he will send, and then Chandradeva said okay. And then Abhimanyu was born on earth, and it was Chandradeva's son was actually Abhimanyu. So Abhimanyu was born on earth. 18 days was over, and on the battlefield, when he has done the 18 years of life on planet Earth, and assisting Krishna in establishing Dharma in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Finally, he died. Left his body, and then he went back to the Devaloka, or Swargaloka. So when we say that, okay, fine, as Abhimanyu, we see him, but then he is another personality who came in the for the service of the Lord. Yes, we feel separation from such people, but then when we understand the higher reality, it doesn't affect us so much. So this is exactly what happens when we forget this, when a conditioned soul forgets that he belongs to Krishna, he forgets its true identity. That is when we actually suffer. When we forget the true higher realities, that's when we are suffering. Our vision is very limited. When our vision becomes very limited, we cannot see the higher reality. That is why it is very important to elevate our consciousness so that we can see the higher realities and we won't be affected so much. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So he's only worried about his happiness. What will I gain out of this battle? Sloka number 31. न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनं हत्वा स्वजनम् आहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kingsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. See, this is exactly what we were discussing. Without knowledge of one's self interest is Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situation. In such a blind conception of life, they forget even the cause of material happiness. So here we see that when we don't understand our reality, who we really are, we try to link ourselves with the immediate relations or anything that we have. I am an Indian, I am an African, I am an American, or I am a Hindu, Christian, or whichever religion, or I'm a man, I am a woman, I am a uh, whichever whatever kind of tax we put on ourselves. I am a lawyer, I am a doctor, I am this, that, all those kind of things are material. Because what happens is, this life I am a man, next life I would be a woman. What happened to your tag now? I might be a doctor in this life, I might be something else in another life. What happened to the tag now? I might be the son of this man in this life. I might have been the son of some other woman. Who knows what? Who we don't even remember who our previous father and mother was. So this is all temporary relationships that we have. Doesn't mean that they are not important. We have to do our duty here. But then we should not think that that is the eternal relationship. We have to understand the higher truth of who we really are. So when a person does not understand one's true interest is in Krishna, the conditioned souls are attracted by all the small things. We are attracted by the glittering of the things when we don't know the brightness of the sun. So in the darkness, what happens, like we have that the fireflies are there, right? So when it is pitch dark, the fireflies are very very prominent. So their light is so prominent, and we enjoy their beauty. But then what happens, the moment sun comes, we cannot even see them, right? So in front of that sun, the fireflies are nothing. But in pitch darkness, these fireflies are something great, right? So it is similarly like that. This material world is pitch black and dark, and the material conditioning, we think I am this body, I am this, I am that, I am having so many tags. In that pitch black condition of our material existence, for us these are tags, the different tags that we have are like fireflies. Oh, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, I am a rich man, I am a millionaire, I am what to say, not just even the superiority complexes, but even inferiority. Oh, I am a beggar, I am this, I am that, I am uneducated. All both inferiority tags and superiority tags. Anyway, all are tags. But then all of these are like fireflies for us, because I am in that pitch dark condition. But the moment the sun comes out, all these are nothing in front of the sun. So the moment the true knowledge comes of who I really am, all these tags that we have are nothing. So this is very important for us to understand. So yes, Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral code for a Kshatriya. It is said that, okay, so now, okay, fine, you have, so here Arjuna's situation is like, he has to understand one thing. The higher truth is understanding that I am the soul, and I belong to the Lord, and my duty is to serve him. But if people are not on that level of understanding, at least he should, according to the tag that we have in this present life, we have to do our duty properly. If I am a Kshatriya, I have to do the duty of a Kshatriya. If I am a doctor, I have to do the duty of a doctor, or a teacher, or whatever it is. So it is very important. But then even Arjuna is in such a condition that even forgot his duty, as at least on the material platform also he forgot what his duty is. So here it is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriyas who die directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to return into the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. So Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks that by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in his life, and therefore he is not willing to fight. Just as a person who does not feel hungry is not inclined to cook. This is a very nice example and analogy given here. So here, two things. One is, there are two deaths which are very glorious. One is a person who dies in a battle for dharma. So a person who dies in a battle for dharma, his life is glorious because he is going to higher planet. He is going to get a better life. And a person who is completely spiritual, and who is devoting his life to spread the message of the Lord to others, such a person's death is also glorious. So these are the only two glorious deaths. All the other deaths are out of all they are leaving for themselves when they are dying. That's it. It's like you come and go, come and go. There is no point in life. So those kind of lives are not glorious. Only these two deaths are glorious according to the scriptures. So here Arjuna is not even ready to kill any of his enemies, even his enemies. Forget about his relatives. So here there is so why is he not willing to fight? Because he doesn't find happiness for himself. It is not about your happiness, it is your duty to fight. It's like I say, oh, I am not hungry, so I will not cook. What if our mother starts thinking like that? I am not hungry, so why should I cook? Hey, it is your duty to cook. It is your duty to take care of others. If it is my duty, even if I don't feel like doing it, I have to do it. So that is what duty stands above my likes or dislikes. The likes and dislikes comes from the mind. Duty is higher. Duty is on a higher level. So this is very important. The duty of a parent is on the higher level than my happiness and sadness or whatever it is. So here, similarly, this goes for Arjuna also. Suppose a doctor, he had a fight with his wife or whatever it is, he's not feeling good. When he comes to the hospital, there is a person who needs immediate surgery or whatever it is. He says that, oh, I had a very bad fight with my wife. I don't feel like it is not about what you feel like or what you not feel like. You have to do your duty of saving that life. Maybe yes, all these problems will come in between. So we should be strong enough to keep that problems aside and concentrate on our duty. What happens is sometimes we take the problems also along with us. Oh, I have to do the duty also, but this problem is also there. So we are doing our duty along with these problems in our head. So the duty will not be perfect. So when does a person is said to be strong? When he is able to keep aside all those problems, all the good or bad, anything, and do his duty properly. Duty stands above your happiness and distress. Even when you're happy, sometimes we forget to do our duty or do our duty properly. When we are sad, we might not be able to do our duty properly. So how can we do our duty properly even when we are happy or sad? When we are not affected by both happiness and sadness, then we'll be able to do our duty properly, because it takes a higher stand than my happiness or distress. So he has now decided to go into the forest and live a secluded life in frustration. Even if he goes to the forest, he is not going to be happy. That will also be a life of frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence. Because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. It is like my nature, it's like we said, no, my nature is to be a sugar. I cannot act myself as a salt or a chili or whatever it is. That is what we also see. Like when we choose our occupation, we don't choose an occupation because everyone is doing it. We should choose an occupation which is according to my nature, which I like to do, which makes me happy. So that is very, very important. Okay. Um, yes, but as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence. Because Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. But Arjuna has no kingdom. So Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining the kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and brothers and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to the forest to live a secluded life of frustration. Maybe we'll just finish one more sloka very quickly. Text 32 and 35, 32 to 35. किं नो राजेन गोविन्द किं भोगजीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगसुखानि च त इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणां त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलां श्वशुरा पुत्रा श्यालः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान्नाहन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि राज्यस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्न का Pritisya Janardhana. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father in laws, grandsons, brother in laws, and other relatives are ready to give up their life and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Now, this seems to be a very valid statement, isn't it? Why unnecessary kill? What will I gain out of it? So Krishna gives a very good explanation later on, because it is not about what will you gain out of it, it is what will the entire society gain. Sometimes what happens is we don't understand the benefit of what we are doing uh, in the later run. It's like a person says, I have to undergo this surgery, but if I undergo this surgery, I have to undergo a lot of pain. It's a painful surgery, so I don't want to undergo the surgery. And then he leaves it. Now what happens is, yes, he might have to undergo a lot of pain when the surgery happens, but once the surgery is successful, he can lead a painless life thereafter. But now if he keeps away from this painful surgery, he has to, because of his fear of being of this painful surgery, he has to lead a future life which is full of pain. It's easy for us to understand, like short term pain and long term painlessness, or short term painlessness but long term pain. Which is that I will choose? I will choose, okay, fine, somehow do this surgery, okay, I will tolerate this pain for some time, because I don't have to tolerate the pain in future, a long term pain in future. So this is exactly what Arjuna's situation is. So what happens here is, Arjuna thinks, I have to undergo a lot of pain seeing all of them dead. But then what happiness will it gives me? So people will think that, oh, since I'm going through pain right now because of the surgery, maybe it will be painful even later. No, we are that is because we are not able to see the reality. Yes, it will be painful in the beginning, but what happens is later on it becomes painless. So we have to choose here, short term pain and long term painlessness. But what happens is, people mainly think, when I undergo the short term pain, they think that even future is also painful. That is because we don't have the right vision. But a doctor knows. But the doctor knows, if you take this short term pain, it will be long term painlessness. But a patient who might be undergoing that pain, he might not be in a position to think in that way. So that is when we have to take the guidance of superiors who knows the reality. So here Arjuna thinks that if I kill everyone, I'll be in pain, my future is in pain, everything is in frustration, what is the use of all this? So he doesn't want to fight. But what happens if he doesn't fight? His rest of his entire life will be in pain. So this is the reality. So then, which Arjuna is not ready to accept this. So then, what pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda, because Krishna is object of all pleasures for cows and the senses. So Govinda, go means cow or the senses. Who gives pleasure to the cow and who gives pleasure to the senses is called Govinda. By using the significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand that what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, you should know, as Govinda, you should know what will make me happy. Killing these people will not make me happy. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying your senses. So Govinda is not meant to make us happy. If we try to make Govinda happy, we will be happy. That is what the essence is. Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the senses. But how does Krishna gives pleasure to our senses? When we give pleasure to Krishna's senses, what pleasure, what happiness we get is million times more. This is a beauty of it. So when we try to satisfy what Krishna wants, what we are going to get is million times more. So here, materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses. And he wants God to be the order supplier of such satisfaction. Exactly like Arjuna is saying here. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entity as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy his own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. So this is very, the one has to be very, very detached to think in this way. So Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them, partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. So it's not that Arjuna is completely materialistic because of which he doesn't want to fight. There is also some compassion also in him. He is also compassionate. Being a devotee, that compassionate nature is also there to kill so many life. A person who is a real Kshatriya, he doesn't unnecessarily go for war because so many life are lost there. So Arjuna knows that many life will be lost. He is going to give later in the coming slokas. He will tell what are the consequences of a war, and because of which he says, I don't want to fight. But that even the Kauravas should think that. But the Kauravas are very eager to fight the war. They asked only for 5 village. They could have given 5 village and stopped this war. But Duryodhana was so adamant to have this war. He was not even ready to give those 5 villages. Instead, he wants to kill all these people who are going to take part in the war. So who was the real culprit here? It is Duryodhana. So Arjuna has compassion for everyone. So he is ready to live a life of frustration. Arjuna is ready to live a life of frustration. It doesn't matter, but so many lives will be saved. So this is out of genuine compassion. But then Krishna says, no, if you are going to give this kingdom to such a man who's not even ready to give 5 villages for you and want to kill so many people, this it is to such a man you are going to give the kingdom if you are not going to fight this war, and he will create more havoc in future. So that is why Krishna wants this war. So everyone wants to show his opulence. Yes, everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives. But Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield, and he'll be unable to share his opulence with after his victory. This is a typical calculation of material life. So both are there. It shows both natures in Arjuna. One is his compassionate nature, and at the same time, the materialistic nature is also there. So both of them come into play. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the, so now it's an entirely different situation which is being spoken here. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if Lord is not willing, he should not accept anything. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. At this point, he did not know that Krishna has already killed them before they are coming into the battlefield. So that's what we will see in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna sees that Vishwarupa and he sees all of them entering the mouth of Krishna and the Vishwarupa, and all of them are dying. Krishna says, all of them are already dead. I have already decided to kill them, and they are all already dead. You are just doing the duty of killing. That's it. If you don't do it, someone else will do it. So Krishna has already killed them before they are coming into the battlefield. And that he wants only to be, than that he only wants to become an that only he wants only Arjuna to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in the following chapters. Yes. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. So both the nature is shown here in Arjuna. As a devotee is compassion, and he wants to do this duty of killing the miscreants, but also that materialistic nature which Krishna willing, he is Arjuna is showing that uh, of being attached to his family, not thinking of the higher reality. Mm. The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoers, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. Arjuna was ready to forgive them, but Krishna is not ready. Because Krishna, if someone does something wrong to Krishna, Krishna is ready to forgive. But you did wrong to my devotee. You made him suffer so much. Krishna will not forgive such a person. So this is the nature of the Lord. He has so much love for his devotees. So yeah, so with this we will stop here, and we'll start with the 36th sloka. There is much more in these slokas, but then since we'll be seeing all the details later on in the coming chapters, so we'll just wind up with this much in this sloka. So we'll be starting with the 36th sloka in the next session. Thank you all for joining, and have a wonderful day. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय।